Deep in the triple canopy jungles of Belize, a British SAS reconnaissance team moved through terrain their unit had spent generations mastering. The jungle was dense enough to block sunlight in the middle of the day. Humidity soaked through uniforms within minutes. Sound carried unpredictably through the trees, while visibility collapsed into walls of green so thick that a man could disappear 10 meters away and never be seen again. This environment was supposed to favor the British. For decades, the SAS had built its reputation in places like Malaya and Borneo as some of the greatest jungle warfare specialists on Earth. Their mission during the exercise was simple: infiltrate deep into the training area, establish concealed observation posts, and remain undetected while monitoring movement across the sector. Then, Delta Force entered the jungle. What followed forced Allied operators to confront something deeply uncomfortable about the future of special operations warfare. The Americans did not move slowly. They did not rely purely on traditional tracking. Instead, Delta operators flooded the jungle with thermal optics, passive night vision systems, and micro-drones that mapped likely movement corridors from above, while hunter-killer teams moved aggressively across terrain the British assumed would slow them down. Before some SAS teams could even complete their hide positions, Delta operators were already compromising their perimeters. And the final thermal contact near the river crossing changed the entire tone of the exercise. To understand why this exercise mattered, you have to understand what the SAS represents in jungle warfare culture. The British Special Air Service did not build its jungle reputation through theory. It was earned through decades of operations in some of the harshest environments modern soldiers have ever entered: Malaya, Borneo. Dense terrain where visibility vanished, maps became unreliable, and survival depended entirely on discipline, fieldcraft, and patience. Their doctrine emphasized moving carefully enough to leave no sign of passage at all. Tracks were concealed, vegetation disturbance was minimized. Hide sites were constructed with obsessive attention to camouflage and natural blending. Anti-tracking techniques were practiced until movement through the jungle became almost surgical. In this world, stealth was everything, and for years the SAS had been among the best practitioners of it anywhere on Earth. The jungle was supposed to favor the British. The jungle itself becomes a character. Belize is not forgiving terrain. The jungle there operates almost like a living organism. Heat builds under the canopy until breathing itself becomes exhausting. Thick vegetation blocks long-range visibility and distorts sounds in ways that make direction difficult to judge. Rain transforms the ground into mud that swallows movement and erases reference points. GPS signals become unreliable beneath dense canopy layers. Nightfall arrives fast, and once darkness settles into the jungle floor, depth perception collapses almost entirely. In older generations of jungle warfare, this environment naturally favored the defender, especially reconnaissance teams trained to disappear into it. But Delta Force approached the problem differently. They were not trying to become better jungle trackers than the SAS. They were trying to process the jungle faster than the SAS could adapt to it. The British expected traditional hunter teams moving cautiously through the terrain while searching for visual indicators of movement. Delta did the opposite. Their teams moved aggressively and with a level of confidence that initially confused the SAS observers monitoring the exercise. Handheld thermal optics scanned through gaps in vegetation, looking for residual heat signatures. Small drones pushed ahead of the hunter teams, mapping likely escape routes, terrain funnels, and concealed movement corridors that would naturally attract reconnaissance elements. The Americans weren't relying entirely on what they could physically see from ground level. They were building a layered picture of the environment in real time. Every broken branch, every disturbed patch of vegetation, every thermal irregularity became another piece of a constantly updating map. Delta didn't try to out-jungle the SAS, they tried to out-process them. The first indication that something was wrong came earlier than the British teams expected. One SAS observation element reported movement patterns that made little sense according to traditional jungle tracking doctrine. The Americans were covering ground too quickly. Their search patterns were too direct. Instead of slowly sweeping terrain sector by sector, Delta teams appeared to be maneuvering toward likely hide locations with alarming confidence. At first, some assumed the Americans were simply gambling. Then another concealed route was compromised. Then another. What unsettled the British operators wasn't that Delta was moving aggressively. Elite units train around aggression all the time. What unsettled them was the growing realization that the Americans were not searching randomly. They already seemed to know where to look. This is your teach without sounding educational section. Traditional jungle camouflage is designed to defeat the human eye. It breaks outlines, distorts shape, merges movement into vegetation and shadow. But thermal systems don't care about camouflage patterns. They care about heat. A concealed operator lying motionless beneath foliage can still produce subtle thermal inconsistencies against the cooler environment surrounding him. Recently disturbed vegetation retains temperature differences. Pathways compressed by repeated movement reflect heat differently than untouched terrain. The jungle could hide shape, it could not hide heat. And once Delta teams began integrating thermal scans with drone reconnaissance and predictive tracking, the pace of the exercise shifted dramatically. The defining moment of the exercise came near a narrow river crossing that several SAS elements viewed as a reliable fallback corridor if their observation posts were compromised. In traditional jungle doctrine, terrain like this offered concealment and controlled movement options. Dense vegetation limited visibility, while the river itself disrupted tracking patterns. But one of Delta's micro-drones identified movement indicators near the crossing before the British teams fully relocated into position. The feed reached the American hunter teams immediately, and instead of continuing their original search route, Delta rerouted aggressively toward the crossing. That was the moment the initiative disappeared. The SAS teams were still establishing concealment. Delta was already planning the ambush. What happened next became the moment Allied observers discussed most heavily afterward. As the British elements maneuvered near the river corridor, Delta teams had already established hidden interception positions along likely movement routes identified through drone observation and thermal analysis. The simulated ambush unfolded with shocking speed. British operators moving through terrain they believed remained secure suddenly found themselves effectively surrounded by hunter teams that had anticipated their movement before the repositioning was even complete. The shock wasn't that Delta found them, the shock was how early Delta found them. For decades, jungle warfare doctrine assumed terrain like Belize naturally slowed detection timelines and favored stealth-oriented reconnaissance elements. Delta had just demonstrated that modern ISR systems combined with aggressive hunting tactics could collapse that timeline entirely. The after-action review that followed was not emotional, it was analytical. Drone footage, thermal recordings, movement timelines, and communication logs were reviewed by both sides. The British teams had not failed because of poor fieldcraft. Their camouflage remained effective against traditional visual tracking. The problem was that Delta had fundamentally changed the detection equation. The Americans weren't hunting purely with eyes anymore. They were hunting with networks of information layered together in real time. The jungle had not become irrelevant, but it was no longer enough on its own. For decades, the jungle belonged to the men who could disappear inside it. In Belize, Delta Force demonstrated that modern special operations warfare may now belong to the men who can see through it. The SAS remains one of the most respected special operations units on Earth, and their mastery of jungle warfare was built through generations of real operational experience. But this exercise highlighted something larger than one unit outperforming another. It revealed how rapidly technology is reshaping the balance between concealment and detection in modern warfare. Because today, elite operators are no longer fighting only against human instincts and human vision. They are fighting against sensors, thermal systems, drones, and networks capable of processing the battlefield faster than a concealed team can react. And somewhere in the jungles of Belize, during one uncomfortable training exercise, some of the best reconnaissance operators in the world realized the jungle itself might no longer guarantee invisibility. Subscribe to Specsops Legends for more deep dives into elite special operations units, joint training exercises, and the moments that changed modern warfare doctrine. Because somewhere tonight, another elite unit is probably learning the same lesson. The battlefield is evolving faster than tradition alone can keep up.